Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Bennett Tchaikovsky, or the accounting professor, and great here to be here today with Professor Steven Grinberg, who is one of our tax instructors at Irvine Valley College. Steven's been with us since teaching for us on a part-time basis since January of 2024. Prior to teaching at Irvine Valley College, Steven was working for the Internal Revenue Service. And we're going to hear a little bit about Steven's background. And Steven, welcome. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you very much, Ben. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be at Irvine Valley College. Hello, everybody.
There we go. Awesome. So we're here really to kind of talk to students today about the enrolled agent. And I think the enrolled agent is something that the Internal Revenue Service will not promote, which for whatever reason, but when I have my first conversations with you and learn more about it, it's actually a pretty powerful tool that doesn't require the same kind of things as the CPA license does. So in terms of becoming an enrolled agent, what's required?
Well, the first step is you have to get what's called a PTIN, which stands for PTIN. Sorry, guys, my accent sometimes be a little hard to understand, which stands for Preparer Tax Identification Number. And that you get from the IRS. And I believe the cost is like $19.75.
Okay.
So, yeah,
By the way, whenever we mention numbers on this, it may be changing,
yes.
we don't know.
Yeah. And it's 1975 now, but who knows? It could be $190. I'm just joking. But so far, we'll go with the current law of
There you
1970.
go.
So that's the first step. You have to apply and get a P10, and that you have to renew annually. But by the way, that P10 requirement is not only for enrolled agents, it's for anybody who prepares a tax return for a fee.
That's right, because so if you're a certified public accountant, or if you are an attorney, right? Because attorneys can also, I'm not sure if I'd want an attorney preparing a tax return, but if attorney does prepare a tax return,
Uh,
it's better the attorney directs the CPA to do it than they can claim it as a work product, right? Who knows? But
That that's actually how it typically works. When you go to happened to my brother-in-law. He went to a tax attorney. Tax attorney came up with what to do, and then he told the CPA to go do the tax returns.
there you go. Okay. So you apply for the P10, right, which is relatively easy to do. And then once you have the P10, like what's the next step?
Yeah. I just want to mention one thing about the P10 is required if you prepare returns for a fee.
Okay.
There's no P10 required to prepare returns for free.
Okay. Oh,
So
so if I'm part of VITA or the volunteer income tax, okay. So it's free if I'm not charging.
right. As long as you don't charge, you don't need a P10. But once you charge somebody, and doesn't necessarily have to be just charge in terms of cash, exchange of services is also charging.
Okay.
So let's say you tell somebody, I'll do your tax returns, you do my plumbing. So that's technically also a fee. So it's cash or bartering. So
Okay.
so the next step is you have to take the enrolled agent exam.
Okay.
So yeah, the enrolled agent exam, it's written by the IRS, but it's administered by a company called Prometric. So
Okay.
you have to sit for the enrolled agent exam. Currently, Prometric requires you to take, and there's three parts of enrolled agent exam. So currently, you're required to take it in person at a Prometric site. Prometric is moving to a option to take it remotely. So you
You
only,
know what? But I've kind of heard that if you do take it remotely, I heard it's like really crazy. I mean, it's like there's some kind of crazy, like if my cat jumps in the background, or you
yeah,
have to have like some sort of crazy lockdown and being able to show your room and all this other
yeah. You have
stuff.
to put your hands up, and
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, and that's really that's not that's if you're interested in, don't know if they've officially launched the remote, but you would have to find out what the guidelines are just directly from Prometric in
Okay.
terms of taking remotely. But
Okay.
there's three parts to the exam. There's part one, which involves individual taxation. In other words, everyone's favorite Form 1040,
Right.
which as much as they say it changes, it's still the same form. They just split
Right.
it up into other forms. So the first part is individuals. The second part is what they call business.
Okay.
So business encompasses corporations, S corps, partnerships, trust, estates.
Okay.
gift tax. So, it's pretty encompassing. And the third part is policies and procedures,
Okay.
part three. And policy and procedures is IRS policies and procedures. Who is a power of attorney, who can represent it from the IRS, and there's a whole bunch of different guidelines. So it's a three-part exam. And
So Stephen, once, okay, so I applied for the P10, I get issued a P10, and I've actually done that before. Once I have the P10, then I can go to Prometric and I can schedule the enrolled agent exams. I can schedule all three exams. And the other important thing to kind of note is that unlike the CPA exam that requires you make $100 application to, I mean, I'm more familiar with the California Board of Accountancy. You make $100, you pay $100. You have to send in your academic transcripts. For the enrolled agent, you just need a P10. And then you basically can schedule an appointment for testing at a Prometric website, or as you mentioned, you could do it at home potentially if you want to raise your hands, and there we go. But it's really, that's all there is really to it. It's not something where it's like there's not an educational requirement. It doesn't have the same, oh, perfect. Okay, so once I pass, so I schedule all three exams, and we're going to make a separate video that kind of talks about each one of those sections. But once I basically kind of go through and take those exams and I pass them, right? And I think they tell you instantaneously whether or not you pass, correct?
yes, it's instantaneous. Yeah,
Wow, so you know right on the spot if you made it or not, okay. And
right.
then once you pass a part, do you know how long those results are good for?
Um, I believe it is 2 years or 3 years.
Okay, by the way, don't hold us to anything on this, but it holds for a certain period of
Right.
time. So you can kind of go back through and then basically finish the rest. But once I pass all three parts, then do I get a designate, or how does that then am I then anointed as an enrolled agent, or do I have to make another application to the IRS?
You have to make another application to the IRS and to become an enrolled agent. So you'll have to pay them another fee.
1975, or is it 1999, right?
No, unfortunately, I was a little higher,
Okay.
but you apply to the IRS to become an enrolled agent. They will issue you a number,
Okay.
which will be your license number, and in order to maintain the license from there on, you'll have to do continuing education.
Okay. Perfect. So let's do this. This is a great introduction, Stephen. Thank you. We'll go ahead and